Greetings, everybody. It's Jim, and if I were to tell you that I was playing a game of Ogre for you today, you'd probably be thinking to yourself, I've seen that the designer's edition you got up there, all sitting on nice and pretty, taking all the attention. You're cracking that open, eh? And the thing is, no, that's not what's happening. Actually, I am playing the classic version. You might have gotten a hint that I might have done that from my previous video about unboxing that big pink donut box of a game for all the pocket boxes that Steve Jackson Games gives you. But also because it fits on my gaming table. The designer edition misses it by almost a good foot. So I have no room for the designer edition here. Plus I wanted to play it anyway. That's why I got the classic version, is to play it on this table. And I got the new piece of plexiglass. I'm an official wargamer now. I got a piece of plexiglass to leave it all flat. And let me tell you, I am so sold on the plexiglass idea. But the thing is, as much as I've known people have done that for years, and I've never had one until now, I always thought it was just to keep the mat flat. There is more benefits to it. I'll get over that in another video, but I am sold on plexiglass. Mounted maps, I don't care no more. I just don't. And then quite honestly, it's a wargaming expense to have everything mounted map. I am so sold on just paper maps now, as long as I have the plexiglass to cover it. But I'll go over all that later. But anyway, today I'm going to be going over with you my scenario report for Ogre. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this all in one take. So please excuse me if this doesn't seem as edited and polished as my other videos, just because I want to get these things done more quickly and more of them out to you. And some of these videos used to take me 3 hours, and I'd edit myself. So I'm just going to roll here anyway. So basically, when I'm playing a solo scenario, it's been a while since I played a game. Even this game as simple as Ogre technically is, some tactics will be lost to me, or I just got to figure something out. There'll be aha moments. There'll be, oh no, I can't do that moments, or I totally flubbed that up moments. But that's okay, because that's how you learn. Okay, and so basically for a scenario like this, and I didn't want to use any of the basic scenarios or anything like that in the book. I just wanted to throw it together and roll some dice and blow something up. That's my tagline. Roll some dice and blow something up. But anyway, so what I was giving both sides, it seems like equal forces. That will change. But we got two Ogre Mark IIIs, and we got some armor units, all the armor units and infantry units and such. And so what I did to differentiate everything for the sides is I rolled to see how many units would be eliminated from each side, and it ended up being 4. I didn't get rid of any infantry units. I made that so that would be a roll. But I rolled randomly to see which armor units would be eliminated, and the white side lost a few GEVs, and the black side lost a few heavier tanks. So is there a balance there or not? I'll find out. Now, you might notice that the black player actually lost 5 units. The reason is because, here's the setup here, because they actually set up, the white set up first, so black actually set up second, so they had the advantage there. So I gave them 1 more unit that they had to lose. Now, I just had to lose something to give for the advantage. I might actually be tempted to make them lose 2 if they were actually closer to in the battle, if this was just a 1 map battle. Why is that? Because when you're that much closer, setting up means more. With the 2 map battle, there's enough time for white to adjust to anything that black's got over there for the most part. So the rules for my scenario, it's a 15 turn scenario, and the idea is, of course, the main victory is to blow up the command posts of the other player. All right, and I figure that's going to be the case. There's enough units when you've got an Ogre and a full array of armor units capable of destroying an Ogre. Pretty much it's going to be a command post rush. Okay, so the only thing you got to do is you have to get an X result and just destroy the command post. There's no structure points or anything. Now, another thing is that I wanted to make it interesting, though, so people wouldn't turtle, is if you get half, you have to have at least a unit. And let's say both command posts weren't destroyed for whatever reason. If you don't have any unit past the halfway mark, you're going to lose a number of victory points. And I wasn't going to do victory points based on units destroyed. I was actually going to base it off of the number of units that were further on down the map. But I really did think, but I would have judged that later. I just said there's going to be a big penalty for if you don't have any units off the second in halfway. But I really did think that the command posts were going to do it. So anyway, here's the setup that I had. White, they were going to have two different tactics here. White was actually going to just try to rush from all angles and such. And Black was going to take one massive force and just barrel right at the command post. And because, again, they set up second, they could just go right where the command post is. They're going to go right over that bridge in town and everything like that and just try to take everything from there. While White is probably going to was initially at least just trying to, maneuver and get on down the road. Possibly going over that command post, but they were trying to spread out a little bit more and maybe get victory points if they could hold the Black barrage coming on towards them. So anyway, so let's take turn one. So we're just starting to move around, and basically everybody's just coming right on out. Now Black's got a couple of infantry trying to defend its command posts. I was thinking that obviously these guys are going to clash in the middle somewhere, and it's going to. But we can see the Black's coming right on down. And White's already trying to meet them a little bit, but they were actually thinking about curving on down. But this was only turn one. Turn two, so here we've got things going on, and the infantry on Black is still staying by, and we're just moving units at this point, and we're just trying to react to each other. I was trying to see, okay, is Black going to just keep on going straight forward, and they pretty much were. And I'm going to move my big fat head. Ooh, hello. I said one take, so let me move this out of the way because I do have a turn marker there. There we go. Turn two. I can move myself right here. I think it'll be fine. All right, so there's turn two. So turn three, things are getting the GEVs are really moving. I mean, they really book. But the thing is, they're also very vulnerable. And I wonder, a lot of games turn into GEV versus GEV right at the beginning of the game, maybe, because they're the first ones that always can meet. Now, mind you, this is probably more, I'm playing right off the cuff and stuff like that. My adolescent mind is thinking, yeah, I want to attack every turn. I want to hit everything because, that's how younger gamers, munchkins and stuff like that would definitely play. And I still, when I'm playing fast, I guess I can get into that mode too, just to move everything whether I need to or not. Turn four, and the GEVs are almost connected. We can see the black barrage coming right down the road sections there. Now, definitely the thing is when you do have an array of tanks coming, you'll see that the missile tanks are slightly behind. Now, mind you, they have a lot of range, so that might not be so bad. But at the same time, there's going to be a point where you get off the road so you can attack all at once. You kind of spread out and then attack. Getting there fast is fine, but getting there where one force is, your forces get hit at the front first, and then the other guys catching up. You really want them to attack all at once. Now, another thing here that I did as a difference here, you'll notice that the white player is coming up to meet them, but their ogre is in the back, and for Black, their ogre is in the front. Will that have a difference? We're going to find out. So here's turn five, and things are starting to come up. You can see that everybody's watching ranges, right? They don't want to go too far because nobody wants to get attacked first. And that's the thing that happens in a game like Ogre and GEV, because the first attack means so much because it happens instantly. It's not simultaneous. So nobody wants to necessarily take the first plunge unless they've got to. So here's turn six, and now we start to get into some battles here. Now you'll notice the white GEVs come from down from below, and they're actually sprouting up. They say, you know what, the heck with it. This ogre is coming into play. Maybe we can just help out over here. We're quick enough, and the other three GEVs are just going to fall behind. They'll be able to catch up with them, but it'll be probably 2 turns before they can attack. And so the white GEVs might be able to get an attack, or maybe 2 even, before the black GEVs get theirs in. So again, this game's all about small advantages. So we got turn 7, and a few disableds. That's the good thing about this game. Units can get disabled, but they're still functional. And it's a slow process to necessarily kill a lot of things. So it doesn't feel like you're just wiping out everything. Mind you, there's a difference between maybe some ogre weapons and the other weapons, and that's the way it's supposed to be. The ogres are supposed to be a little bit more concrete. Now you notice that the black player is definitely moving their infantry now. What do you got to lose? That the other GEVs are taken off. And they're not really going to get through all those force hexes that easily. So they're not going to do an end run to get to that command post. So figure why not move them on up? That was pretty much the easiest way to go. And so far, the white is holding its own right there. But that's going to start change really soon because in the next turn, turn 8, now the GEVs actually found out that they aren't going to get too close without getting nailed, so they still have to watch their distance too. But this is giving the black GEV player GEVs a chance to actually catch up. So it was a little bit of watching the ranges there. But the ogre is slowly making it up there, doing calculated numbers. The white ogre is finally getting there. Yeah, he's there now. So they're kind of doing a little roundabout there. And the missile tanks is still kind of out of the picture here. So, like I said, with the black player, they just barreled in. They didn't wait for the other ones to catch up and then move forward, get off that road. That was definitely a tactical mistake, but I was just playing fast and loose, so why not? So that happened. So now we got to turn 9, and the white still seems to be holding its own. And the ogre actually reverses for a little bit there. And the one thing about the black ogre is because the Mark III ogres have the 2 missiles, and it's use them or lose them on those, because they're the first things that are going to get attacked from both sides, especially when you're playing with command posts that only need 1x result to be blown away, and you lose the game. So obviously the missiles were either targeted or they were blown away at first. Treads were a target for after that, maybe a few weapons, but white was actually going to go after the treads because he's really close actually now, and it's like they didn't intercept him in time. And again, I haven't played in a while, but treads do take a long time to actually blow up, and but that's the way you're going to have to win this scenario, because even if you blew up all the weapons, the ogre could still, unless it had the CPs had structure points, was still going to maneuver and just roll over it, roll over the command post. So that would be if you wanted to change it up so the command post might be a little bit tougher or be maneuverable to where the ogre may not be able to get it. Even if it didn't have all its weapons, that would be an option. But so far, it seems like the black players having a little bit of problems getting in there, and now the GEVs. The GEVs did do battle, and it looks like white got the worst of it there. So let's go on to turn 10, and only 5 turns to go now. And here we got it. Yeah, the GEVs are just practically all gone, but the ogre is now moving down. Instead of going through all those hexes where the infantry were, because the infantry were going to get double defense, and they weren't necessarily going to do a whole lot anyway. But at the same time, that was, when you got all that, and you look at all the white armor, they just got wiped out. It just wasn't very good for them, especially when the missile tanks started to finally get up there. And then we got turn 11, and the ogre's just making its way. There's a lot of infantry that are already getting wiped out. Even if they were in the cities, there was some good rolls there. And the GEVs are just coming on over, and it really looks like it's going to be a quick black victory. The other ogre is trying to make it over there. It didn't get touched very much at all. The other ogre just, you know what, I'm just going to kill everything else. And so the other ogre is actually just going to maybe make an attempt. It's never going to make it in time for the other command post, though. And then it just gets a little closer. You could see the writing on the wall. Now, the other ogre did make it across the halfway mark. And the other infantry are trying to make it there. Now, the thing is, had this been a longer scenario, this could have been more interesting because the other ogre might have made it to the other command post, or if I didn't have a scenario based on who got there first, and it would play out. Okay, you both destroyed the command post. That's a tie, and then move on to something else. But this was a race, so it looks like it's going to be black. And here's the end of the game here. I actually skipped a turn here, but I mean, it was just writing on the wall. The infantry tried to make it on over. The ogre just made it around them because you can't stop the ogre, and it stopped there and just hit it with a small battery and destroyed the command post. And so basically, That is what happened there with the Battle of Ogre. I did have a lot of fun with this. There's no doubt about it. Let me get back to my other mode here. There we go. I did have a lot of fun with it. Even though that was a basic scenario, I encourage you all that do that every so often. Just crack open a game if you're, whether you're feeling busy or down or anything like that. Especially a game like Ogre, because I have fun with it. Even though that was a basic scenario, even if it was a wipeout, sometimes the idea is just to tell a story. And it's not like winning a game. You're playing solo, especially that one, which was almost evenly matched with the exception of what was different. Matter of fact, the black had a lot of less heavy tanks and stuff like that. And, all of a sudden it still managed to pull out a good win there. But sometimes the dice roll that way, but there was enough dice rolling to make the ebb and flows work out. But when you play a game, I find that it's more for the story. I'm about to play Car Wars Classic here in a little bit, and I don't care who wins and who loses. I want to just see what happens. That's the thing about old school gaming. Whether you're playing something like the Fantasy Trip or old school Dungeons and Dragons, or you're playing something like Car Wars, there's not a winner and a loser per se in some cases. You're just is the scenario balanced? Does that really matter? Are you trying to win? Yeah, you want to do the right decisions and stuff like that. But sometimes the fun is just seeing the story that develops and have some fun along the way. Guys, I hope you had fun and motivated you to play your own game. If you wanted to, go ahead and leave the comments down below about what you would have done in that scenario. If you had those forces, how would you have set up differently? I'd love to hear your comments, and I'll see you next video.